and welcome to today's reading. Today we are channeling messages directly from your guides, from the universe. I started to download this message this morning when I was having coffee, and I was getting the image of blood, the feeling of blood moving around in my veins, and then I was taken to an image of someone who has very dry, chapped lips, and the corners have cracked, and there's little blood crusting around the mouth, and then that taste of the metallic component to blood, which is iron. And as I was feeling into this imagery, I was seeing that your life force is seeping out of you slowly and surely, and it's because of this stifling of your flow, of your life force. And I was being shown that someone who is in a situation or an environment where they are afraid to be completely authentic, to express their beliefs, their opinions, their ideas to the fullest extent because of fear of rejection and ridicule. And of course, many of us have experienced this, especially people on the spiritual path. We are often drawn to spirituality to heal these wounds of ours that run very deeply and are, as usual, often stemming from our formative childhood years. I was also being referenced to the iron core crystal of planet Earth, because as human beings have blood, which is symbolic of our life force, it is full of iron, and iron is a metal, but it does form a crystalline structure. And there is a conversation with a woman, I believe her name is Barbara Clow, and she talks about the iron core crystal of the earth. She has a couple of books. I will link them below, but you can find a couple of her interviews online as well. But she talks about the iron core crystal, and this is so interesting because it's like almost like the seed of earth. So if you think about an oak tree, it comes from an acorn. That is the seed, and that is its origin. But unlike the acorn, the iron core crystal stays, it remains, and it feeds the energy out, just like a chakra would in your physical body. And I am being shown that our connection to the iron core crystal through our veins, through our life force and our blood, I just heard assuming you're human, is something that we don't focus on very often in spiritual practice, and that it's something that maybe the earth or our spirit or both are wishing that we could incorporate more into. And I'm being shown someone grounding, going outside and walking barefoot or leaning up against a tree, wearing natural fibers so that there's more conductivity throughout the body and the connection to the earth, not insulating themselves with plastics and rubbers, and revitalizing their soul, revitalizing every cell in their being. I am being taken to the crystalline DNA structure, which a lot of people say that that is awakened in your body, you don't need to eat as much because you're gaining your energy from revitalizing your body, either through the earth, through star bathing, opening up to photonic light energy, which is much more densely packed with energy than anything you can eat, and it takes less to consume it. So it's more of that closed system where the energy doesn't decay. There's no lack, there's no loss of energy when you are processing light energy. And this is something that's coming up because in order to be able to step into that type of a way of living, whether or not you believe in different DNA types, or if it literally enables you to eat less or not, in order to step into that ease and that flow that I'm feeling that you are struggling with because of your lack of ability to be fully authentic, you need to be authentic in order to step into that. Because in order to open your cells, you have to have no resistance. You can't have closure and constriction in your body, in your emotional, physical, mental, spiritual body. There has to be complete openness in order to ingest that energy, in order to receive that ease, in order to go with the flow. I was then taken to people who work with the earth or work on spiritual practices on a regular basis, who to us seem completely unenlightened and even worse off than if they weren't doing any of this stuff at all. For example, maybe you know a gardener who is on their hands and knees working with the earth every single day, and they just seem like they have absolute zero awareness of anything that they're doing with the earth, with themselves, with other people, with other animals and creatures. And they have this cutesy gardener feel where they look like they're someone who cares about a lot of things, but when you actually watch them, they're so disconnected. And there's this question that's coming up with people who engage with grounding and spiritual practices who seem this disconnected. Like, how is it possible? How is it possible for them to not know what they're doing? How is it possible for them to be engaging in these incredibly high vibrational activities and not be affected by them? And Earth is coming through right now to say that I can help you. I can heal you. You have to release that resistance like we were talking about before and let me in. That might look like taking off your rubber-soled shoes. It might look like going to visit a beach. It might look like taking a longer shower than usual and spending a little bit of time just experiencing the water flow over your body. It may be taking a bath or going to a salt bath or researching and understanding things in nature, like maybe you're interested in birds or insects or trees. But what she's also saying is that she can't heal for you. You have to be open to it, and she can only do that which you are open to. No being, practice, energy can supersede your free will. And for those of us who practice these things on a daily basis, but are not open to really transforming our lives, transforming our awareness, and have that attitude of, my highest good is not necessarily what I think I want, but once I get there, I will want it. And so therefore, I am open to allowing this transformation to take place. And it is not that I am uninvolved. It is not that I am detached from my true north, as so many spiritual practices would have you believe, but rather that you have a loose grasp, and all you know is that you want improvement and betterment and more fulfillment. And as you hold that very loosely, you allow your life to transform within that. And because of this ability to do that, some people can have incredibly impactful experiences every time they communicate with the earth, every time they put their feet on the grass. And other people who don't have that feeling have absolutely no ability to see that at all. I am also coming to this thought that I've had in the past, and it is that enlightenment is the natural state for the human being. Of course, we wouldn't believe that since so many of us are not enlightened. So many of us are disconnected and don't understand and see and live in the divine unity that exists. And that even those of us who do understand and acknowledge and see it have such a difficult time staying in that awareness and that true knowingness. But it is not because it is not natural for the human to be in that state. It is because the nature of our upbringing, of our society, of our history, We have this intense level of collective trauma that each one of us is here to resolve a little bit of, to pull on the threads, to detangle our collective web. Because our natural state is to be fully enlightened. But we have all of these blockages in the form of past traumas in our personal, ancestral, and global historical lives. So without both sides of this work being engaged, we can't achieve our true natural state, because we must both engage with our unity and engage with our trauma at the same time to mend that fracture, that gap between them, to remind the traumatic experiencer that they are divine, and to remind the divine experiencer that they have experienced intense trauma. This trauma causes closures and constriction in the human body, in the collective body. And this is what we are here to work on. Many people talk about starseeds and light workers, and there are people who are consciously engaging with these practices, and that is who they refer to as starseeds and light workers. But in reality, we are all here to be starseeds and light workers. We are all here to do that work. All of us, whether we choose to do that when we're here or not, is an entirely different story. Whether choosing to do that looks like a spiritual path or looks like someone who works as a metalsmith is entirely a different story. It is simply that when we come here to planet Earth as a human being, we are here specifically to heal these wounds, to recover this hole. I'm seeing like someone repairing a hole in a pair of socks or a tapestry. We are here to close these holes, and I'm seeing a giant spider weaving a web. So, as you go on through your day, as you go on through your week, remember that when you are not being authentic, you are constricting yourself. You are closing yourself off to your own healing, the healing of humanity, and to the divine light and love that exists. This isn't a threat. It kind of felt like one when I said that, but what I want you to see, and what the universe, the guides, and the earth are wanting you to realize and recognize, is when you're walking through your daily life, see just how much you are losing by not being authentic, and then re-reference those things that you are afraid of happening if you are fully authentic, and compare the difference. Compare the two losses, and then decide which one you would rather lose, potentially, than the other. I hope that makes sense. It's so difficult to stay completely open sometimes when you know that the people around you won't approve of you and will attack you for who you are. But I'm being shown a flower, that flowers stay open no matter who's in front of them. Whether they love the flower, don't care about the flower, or hate the flower. They don't close themselves off to anything. And that is what we, as light workers, starseeds, spiritual seekers, are being called into. I hope that this resonated. Leave a purple heart or a sparkle emoji down below if you are open to being fully authentic and receiving all of this energy and love and abundance from the universe. And also, I am seeing someone sitting under a tree. So if you have the ability to do that, you are being called to do that. Maybe you can do this thought process that we were talking about in the reading under a tree. That might be very helpful for you. I hope you enjoyed this reading. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Be sure to like this video if you liked it. That really boosts me in the YouTube algorithm, and I would love to see this community grow. And also subscribe if you haven't already, so that you can join this exalted life community. Until next time.